What's going on, guys? It's Keith. Today we're going to talk about why I stopped smoking weed and why I think you should do the same. Before we get into that, I made this channel to help men create their ideal lives through self-mastery. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos, because I put out new videos every single day. And I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me lately, especially. So let's get into this topic, why I stopped smoking weed. So for background, I was a total pothead for about 2 years. I smoked multiple times per day the whole time, and the amount of money and time I lost doing this was completely unbelievable. This was probably about 3 or 4 years ago to about 2 years ago, somewhere in that ballpark. And I haven't smoked weed in about a year now, but I mean, like I said, the amount of time and money you lose doing this is just flat out unbelievable. The amount of time I spent just vegged out, eating some shitty food or watching TV or something like that. And even when I was doing something productive, I wasn't doing it as productive as I could have been. And this is my beef sort of with potheads on this stuff, is they swear they're more productive when they're on it. But I'm telling you, find me one Fortune 500 company CEO who's just killing the game, like a Steve Jobs, Elon Musk type, who is just stoned on a regular basis. I know Elon Musk smoked on Joe Rogan's podcast, but I'm pretty sure he said in the interview it was the first time he'd ever even smoked, right? High performers don't get stoned all the time, and you can't throw rappers in my face either, because that doesn't even count. Like, that's like, unless you're gonna be the next Lil Wayne, you can't tell me smoking weed is something that makes you successful. So that drives me nuts. The amount of time, like I said, that I lost doing this was just unbelievable. The amount of money that I lost doing this was unbelievable, and I really didn't spend that much money on it, to be honest. I just threw in with the pile. I knew guys spending $25-30 a day on this like it was nothing. I mean, that's hundreds of dollars per month. That's what is that? $30 a day times 30 days. That's $900 a month. That's madness. Like, that is just absolute. When I think about that, that's total madness. $900 a month. That's what is that per year? $8,400 a year, I think. Might have to check me on that one, but I mean, that's insane. That just caught me right now. $8,400 a year on weed. All right, like, don't tell me you don't have money if you're doing that. All right, but look, the big thing that switched for me and why I stopped smoking, though, was it came down to, I noticed the people I was hanging out with and where they were going with in life, and I noticed that I didn't want to go down that path personally. And then also, I had been starting doing the social media marketing business I was trying to start, and it didn't work out for me for a number of reasons, but one of the primary reasons I'm convinced of was I would do like an hour or two of work, and then I'd be like, well, time for a smoke break, and then I'd go smoke pot and chill out and act like I was getting a lot done, but I wouldn't be as productive, and I wouldn't think as creatively, and I wouldn't be able to come up with as much stuff, and as a result, the business failed. I failed some classes in college. Like, it was just not a good time in my life, and I just said, I'm not going back to that spot. And I looked around at all the people who were smoking weed, and I didn't want to be where they were going either. No offense to them, but just saying, that's not where I wanted to go in life. So I decided I wasn't going to do that. And I mean, even before then, I'd always ask, and if you're a pothead watching this right now, just ask yourself, why am I doing this, right? Like, this is what happened to me. I started asking myself, every time I smoke, I'd throw money in on this and be like, why am I throwing money in on this? Because every time I do this, I get sucked up in my head. I'm socially anxious after I do it. I'm paranoid, and I just get lazy and don't do anything with my day. Like, why am I paying money to be less effective and less productive and less happy in my own skin? And it just eventually finally caught up to me, and I just said, you know what, I'm not failing anymore. It's time for me to get my life together. I'm done with this. This is around the same time I also quit pornography. Like, I just cut it all out and cleared myself up as much as I could. Said, I'm done with the marijuana, and that was it. And down here I've got a few of the biggest things that really changed for me, because a lot changed, honestly. One of the biggest areas was relationships with women improved. You know, if you're somebody who's naturally not comfortable talking to girls, why would you add something in the middle of that makes things harder, right? So now I'm sucked up in my head on marijuana, stifled while I try to talk, and I'm already paranoid and things like that. How am I supposed to have a real connecting conversation with a woman and be attractive or anything like that when I'm so self-conscious and preoccupied with myself? General social skills improved. I became just way more social because I wasn't so caught up in my own head. I remember when I was still smoking weed, I went to a party that my friend was throwing. I literally couldn't talk the whole time. I was so high. Like, I was so stuck up in my head. I must have looked like the most awkward person ever. But once I got off it, I became one of the more popular people at social events because I was more talkative and more easy to get along with. I wasn't caught up in my head the whole time. Another one that really went up: energy and discipline. Discipline was such a big one for marijuana. Even the potheads who defend marijuana as being such a great thing for maybe it alleviates their social anxiety in their case or whatever it is, I've never heard a pothead say they're more disciplined when they smoke. That's the one thing. They can say they're productive on it, but I've never heard anyone say I'm disciplined when I'm high. And that's a fact. Like, I would come home, just throw my shit on the ground. I would just eat crappy food because I didn't feel like cooking what I needed to eat. And it was just a complete lack of discipline, willing to cut corners on things like that. It's just a lack of focus. Like I said, energy level went down when I was on it, but my energy level came back up after I got off it. I just felt more clear. The brain fog went away. It's very similar, honestly, to stopping pornography. Like, you start to just have more energy, more focus. They're very similar because they're affecting the brain somewhat in similar ways. They mess with your both mess with your dopamine triggers, and they both kind of put you in a funk. My focus improved as well. I was able to focus for longer periods of time without getting sidetracked and actually being productive during that time. My self-confidence rose because I wasn't paranoid and anxious the whole time because I'd been smoking weed. And I just got more done, right? Like, I started focusing. Like, this was the first time in my life I became an actually productive individual. When I got off it, I passed my real estate exam. I became a realtor, made good money doing that for a while. Did all kinds of stuff. I was having the most success I'd ever had with women. I was having the most success I'd had in the gym at that time. I was doing really well. And look, I'm not saying don't ever smoke weed, but what I am saying is, if you knew somebody who got drunk every single day, you'd call them an alcoholic and you'd say that's not a good thing to be doing. So why with marijuana do we just act like it's like fine that you're getting high every single day? Like, treat it like you would alcohol. It's a substance that messes with your awareness and changes your like state of being, and it shouldn't be done constantly, right? And you think about the ways that alcoholics justify their drinking. Deals with their depression, helps them with their anxiety. People who go get drunk at clubs talk about how it makes them more social. And then you hear the excuses potheads make for why they're high all the time. It's the same fucking shit, right? I'm depressed, otherwise I'm anxious, all these things. Well, these are not good ways to cure that problem, right? You're just masking the issue. You're not dealing with the root cause of it. And if you want to figure out how to deal with the root cause of it, I've made tons of videos on all that subject, and you can check those out on my channel. But like I said, I smoked last year. It was the first time I'd done it in a long time. But it's like, I'm not anti-weed. I'm like, put this shit in its place, though. And right now it has gone completely nuts in our society because we're not treating it like what it is, which is similar to alcohol or like pornography, right? If you watched porn every single day, you'd be a porn addict. If you drank every single day, you'd be an alcoholic. So if you smoke every day, you are addicted to marijuana, and you need to cut that shit out and stop denying it to yourself, because I denied it for the longest time, too. I was like, yeah, I'm just as productive when I'm high. And it's like, no, you're not. Trust me, you're not. And so, guys, that's really all I got about marijuana. I'm telling you, this is right up there with NoFap, right up there with all these major self-development practices, is to stop getting stoned all the time. And it seems like about 50% of the population in our generation is high every single day. So if you really want to step your game up and outdo a lot of people, it's cut out the marijuana and start focusing on things that make you better. But guys, that's all I've got for this video. If you liked it, be sure to give me a like, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you know when I make a new video, and I'll see you tomorrow.